Hi friends, today we'll discuss about the superolateral surface of the cerebrum. The brain is a component of central nervous system along with the spinal cord, and this brain and spinal cord both are enveloped by the meninges along with the CSF. And this brain is enclosed by the skull bone, whereas the spinal cord is enclosed by the vertebral canal. Weight of the brain is 1400 grams in males and 1200 grams in females. Now I am showing the superolateral surface of the brain. It is a lateral sulcus. By the presence of this sulcus, the superolateral surface is divided into 4 lobes. It comprises of central sulcus. Now I am drawing the central sulcus, cutting the superomedial border. The cerebrum is composed of superomedial border, infromedial border, and infrolateral border. Surfaces are superolateral surface, medial surface, and inferior surface. And this is the brainstem. Totally, the brain is divided into 4 parts. One is 2 cerebral hemispheres, cerebrum composed of 2 cerebral hemispheres and diencephalon. And third part is the brainstem. Fourth one is cerebellum. Brainstem composed of 3 parts from up to down: midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata, and cerebellum. This is the cerebellum, which controls and coordinates the movements of body. And the diencephalon, it is mainly made up of local gray matter bodies which are accumulated in the basal part of the cerebrum. Those are nothing but basal nuclei or basal ganglia. Structurally, if you see, there is a difference between the brain and spinal cord. In the brain, there is the outside gray matter, inside white matter, deeper parts again gray matter, except the brainstem, whereas in spinal cord, inside gray matter and outside white matter. Okay, this is the brainstem. I'm writing the parts. This gray matter is made up of a aggregation of nerve cell bodies along with dendrites. White matter is made up of predominantly myelinated nerve fibers. Both these are having this gray or white matter. They will comprises of neuroglia along with the blood vessels. This is the brainstem, and down we are seeing the brainstem along with cerebellum. Now we'll see the superolateral surface. That is the central sulcus, which cuts the superomedial border. As I already told you, there are 3 borders: superomedial border, infromedial border, and infrolateral border for each cerebral hemisphere. And this is the lateral sulcus. You see, for this lateral sulcus, the stem of the lateral sulcus will be seen on the inferior surface. On the superolateral surface, on the right and left brain cerebral hemispheres, we'll see the convolutions, so that on the surface layer of the cerebrum, we'll see a layer of gray matter. The surface is convoluted like this. Elevated part is known as a gyre. Depressed part is known as a sulci. And then this brain, you see, the brain is mostly it is located in the anterior and middle cranial fossa, anterior, middle cranial fossa, and supratentorial part of the posterior cranial fossa. All these are convolutions seen on the superolateral surface. 3 surfaces will be there: superolateral, medial, and inferior. Inferior again divided into orbital and tentorial surfaces. This is the lateral sulcus, and then this lateral sulcus, the stem part is seen on the inferior surface. These are the precentral sulcus and postcentral sulcus. The hidden submerged portion will be there on the lateral sulcus, that is nothing but that is the fifth lobe or central lobe of the cerebrum, central lobe of the brain. Hidden submerged portion will be there under the lateral sulcus. This is the superior frontal sulcus and inferior frontal sulcus in the frontal lobe. This imaginary line divides the temporal lobe from the occipital lobe, and this separates the temporal lobe from the parietal lobe, this imaginary line. This is the temporal lobe. I am just drawing in the temporal lobe. This is the superior temporal sulci and inferior temporal sulci. Makes that portion into three parts: superior, middle and inferior temporal gyrus. And the superior temporal sulci is enclosed by gyrus. In the parietal portion, intraparietal sulcus. In the occipital lobe, we'll see the lateral occipital sulcus, calcarine and lunate sulcus. This is the frontal lobe. I'm writing the frontal lobe. This, by the presence of two sulci, divides the portion into three gyrus: superior frontal gyrus, middle frontal gyrus, and inferior frontal gyrus. If you see, there is an interesting point in the inferior frontal gyrus. By the presence of the lateral sulci, on the lateral sulci, we'll see the anterior ascending and anterior horizontal sulci. By the presence, it divides into three parts. The part which is in front of this anterior horizontal is known as the pars orbitalis. In between the anterior horizontal and ascending is known as the pars triangularis. Behind the anterior ascending is known as the pars opercularis. These are the precentral gyrus and postcentral gyrus. This is the parietal lobe. Having the intraparietal sulcus, divides the area into superior parietal lobule and inferior parietal lobule. This parietal lobe, function of the parietal lobe is it receives and evaluates all kinds of sensory information. All kind of sensory information is evaluated here. It is the largest sensory area, whereas the frontal lobe is largest motor area. This is the temporal lobe, which is divided into three gyrus: superior, middle and inferior temporal gyrus. The function of this temporal lobe is it receives and evaluates the smell and hearing functions. Along with that, it plays an important role in the memory storage. You see on the superior temporal gyrus, along with that we'll see superior temporal sulcus, which is encircled by angular gyrus there. This is the parieto-occipital sulcus, and this is the pre-occipital notch. Exactly 5 centimeters or 3 centimeters in front of the occipital pole, there is an imaginary notch. There is a notch, notch known as a pre-occipital notch. And then we'll draw a line from parieto-occipital sulcus to the pre-occipital notch, which divides the occipital sulcus. Having a lateral occipital sulcus, that is the calcarine sulcus, which is encircled by lunate sulcus. This is the lateral occipital sulcus with lateral occipital gyrus. That is the gyrus. Along with that calcarine, which is encircled by the lunate sulcus in the occipital lobe. So the functions of the frontal lobe, mainly voluntary motor functions, and it is responsible for motivation, aggression and emotions there. That is a lunate sulcus. This is the frontal lobe, which is the largest motor area. Voluntary motor functions will be seen there, along with motivation, emotions and aggression. This is the largest sensory area, which evaluates the most sensory information. This is the occipital area, mainly responsible for the vision. This is the temporal lobe, mainly responsible for the hearing and smell. This is about the superolateral surface of cerebrum. This is the lateral sulcus. This lateral sulcus will have a stem. The stem will be seen on the inferior surface, whereas this is the posterior branch. This is the posterior branch of lateral sulcus, and on this posterior branch, first we will see the anterior horizontal, anterior ascending. This one is the anterior ascending, and this is the anterior horizontal branch. So the area between this anterior horizontal, below the side of this anterior horizontal, this is the pars orbitalis gyrus. So between the area between the anterior horizontal and anterior ascending, here this area is known as a pars triangularis. This area anterior ascending and posterior branch of lateral sulcus. This area is known as pars opercularis. Orbitalis, triangularis, opercularis. These are the three types of gyrus. Mainly, these three types of gyrus will be seen by the division of this lateral sulcus. This is the anterior ascending, this is the anterior horizontal branch, anterior ascending, and posterior branch of lateral sulcus will be seen on the superolateral surface. And another interesting point is the submerged hidden portion. If we pull this lateral sulcus, we'll see some hidden submerged cortex that is known as the fifth lobe or central lobe, another lobe of the superolateral surface. Okay, actually there are 4 lobes will be there, like that: frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital. So along with that, there is another lobe which is not visualized, but we can feel when we pull it off this lateral sulcus. Then we can appreciate the hidden submerged portion known as the insula. That is known as a fifth lobe or islander of Riehl. We call it as an islander of Riehl. That is also known as a central lobe. This is about the lateral sulcus. And another one, so here we'll see this is the superiotemporal gyrus. Encircling this, at the tip of the superiotemporal gyrus, we'll see another gyrus known as the angulate gyrus. This is the angulate gyrus, and this is the supramarginal gyrus. This area is known as the supramarginal gyrus. This is the angulate sulcus having the angulate gyrus, and supramarginal sulcus having the supramarginal gyrus. Encircling this posterior branch of lateral sulcus, we will see supramarginal gyrus. Encircling the superior temporal gyrus, we will see the angulate gyrus here. And this is the parieto-occipital sulcus, and this is the pre-occipital notch. This is the lateral occipital sulcus. And here in occipital sulcus, this is the lunate sulcus, and this is the calcarine sulcus. Okay. This is about the superolateral surface of